is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with a new idea for 12 by 12 papers. So it's a new idea to use up some of your 12 by 12 paper pads. You know, if you're anything like me, I've over the time just bought tons and tons of 12 by 12 paper pads. And, you know, a lot of them I love and, you know, some of them I love and use. A lot of them I love and hoard. But a lot of them have, you know, papers that I love and papers, you know, that I'm not so keen on. So this is just an idea to use up some of those papers that, you know, otherwise just end up sitting there in our stash. So I've got some papers here from, you know, from one of my books. And actually, some of these I'm still liking. So I'm going to take out the ones that I do potentially still like and can kind of see myself using. So probably these three florally ones. I could probably just make some tags and things like that with those. So it's more these kinds of patterns, which obviously, I mean, at the time when I bought this, I probably thought, oh, brilliant, these are like journal cards. Actually, they're not really perhaps, you know, the types of journal cards that I would want to use because they're not very vintage. Prefer this side where we've got the kind of black and white flowers. Yes, so I would probably prefer that side. Then I've got this one here. Now again, I probably when I bought this thought, oh my goodness, look at all those lovely butterflies. I've never actually used the butterflies, or I may have used one or two from the second sheet that was in the book. But yeah, I mean, I certainly haven't used them. So on the other side, it's got these bird cages. But to be honest, they're sort of a little bit fussy to use, if you see what I mean. You know, you couldn't really fussy cut them out. And then if you were kind of gluing things on, they'd just be lost, you know, and you wouldn't really be able to identify what they are. Then I've got this page, which is polka dots. I love polka dots always. The other side is this black and white floral. But yeah, definitely I love the polka dots. So, I quite like that. This we've got, I think this is black and white, but it could be brown and white or even grey and white. It's very hard to see. And then the other side is this kind of pinky floral. So yeah, not sure which side that I prefer on that one. And you'll see why the side will matter in a moment when we get kind of making. So this one, I'm probably preferring this side, not because I prefer the pattern, because actually this is like weird little arrows. So pattern wise, I prefer this, but again, for what we're going to be making, this may be a little bit too fussy. So what are we making? So yeah, my idea is to make a little, and I'm going to call this like a scrap buster cluster book. So a scrap buster cluster book. So yep, we're going to make a scrap buster cluster book from some of our 12 by 12 papers. Now the reason why I say it will matter what way round you're going to be using them is because we're only really going to be using one side of the papers. So all I'm going to do is take my papers, and you probably only want about 4 or 5 sheets. I think any more than that, you're going to find this, you know, becomes a little bit too unmanageable and kind of big, you know, bit bulky to use. So again, this is just an idea that's floated around in my head, you know, kind of overnight, kept on thinking about it. And I thought, oh, I'm dying to come and do one. Haven't made one, so you know I can't say for sure what is going to work best here, but I'm thinking 4, maybe 5 sheets. We'll kind of see how we feel once we've folded them in. So we've got that one, then this one. Now, do I like the polka dot or do I like this? I mean, I like both. It's really hard to know. I think I'm going to go with this side. So yeah, again, fold this in because we are only going to be using one side of the paper. So that's why I'm saying, you know, you do want to kind of have a definite which side do I want to use. So this one, I definitely want to use the polka dot side. So, and I'm now thinking, oh, this is boring because I've got just all pinks and reds in here, which is, yeah, a bit dull, isn't it? So let's try and, let's try and mix it up and have the lilac at least. So at least we've got one different colour. Okay, so I put this in here. So yeah, I mean, that's 4 sheets, as you can see. Should we try another one? You see, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch this down the middle with my sewing machine. I'm not sure whether the sewing machine is going to love it if I use another layer, but hey, should we just be daring and go for it? Let's be daring. So going to just take this one in like that. Okay, right, okie dokie. So yeah, just checking that I'm liking the colorways that I've picked. I mean, that one, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take it across to my sewing machine. Now, personally, I'm going to leave this as a tall 12 by 12 book. And you'll see kind of, you know, what we're going to be doing with this in a moment. Obviously, if you find this a little bit big, or, you know, you don't want it this big, you can always cut it down. But personally, I think this is going to be quite nice and work quite well. So I'm going to try it with this. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back from the sewing machine. Now, what a rubbish seamstress I am. If you can see, I've kind of gone there completely wonky. But hopefully that's not going to matter, because you can just obviously, you know, bend your pages where the you know, the stitch line has gone askew. It doesn't matter at all. But yeah, basically what you've got now is this tall sort of skinny book, really wonky across the middle. But what you would now do is you will just get all of your scrap papers, which I've got tons, and a lot of my scrap papers are obviously, you know, when I'm making digitals, and I'm obviously, you know, printing them a lot. And then what happens is, you know, you get misprints, your ink's running out on your printer and all of that kind of stuff. So what I'm thinking is you could then take your 12 by 12, you know, scrap buster cluster book, and then pick a page and just literally use your scraps to build clusters. Now, I'm thinking this would make a fantastic sort of holiday project. It would make a fantastic, like, you know, in front of the TV project, all of those kinds of things. So here, I'm just going to tear down. Actually, I've got this strip of this purple colour, which, you know, this is my French papers, but we don't have purple colour in there. So this is one that, you know, my printer was obviously running out of ink and doing something strange with the inks. But how gorgeous does that look? So all I'm going to do is literally take some of my, you know, my scraps and just start building up, you know, on the page to make a bunch of clusters. So, you know, you're going to get through your scraps really nice and quickly. And what I think is going to be so lovely about this is you're then going to have all of your clusters contained in one place. So, you know, they're all going to be held in the book. And, you know, this won't become apparent probably until we've done a bit in the book, if you see what I mean. So, you know, and hey, who knows, might not really pan out at all. Because like I said, this was just an idea that I had kind of overnight. And I thought, oh, let's give this a try. But I'm hoping that, you know, what we're going to end up with is a space here where all of our clusters are going to be held, you know, in one place. And I'm not saying that you can't have clusters, you know, in other forms, but this will be a nice way to keep them all together. It's going to use up your 12 by 12 papers. You obviously can incorporate the colours that are on your 12 by 12 papers, you know, if you want to do that, into your clusters. So yeah, quite liking this piece here. And then, you know, when you come to want to use a cluster, you can just pull it from the book. The other thing is, obviously, like I said, you know, this would be a fantastic kind of holiday project, because what you could do is make yourself up a couple of these books and just literally take them on holiday with you with, you know, like a, you know, the clear pockets, the see-through pockets. Take one of those, like filled with scrapbook, not scrapbook, but, you know, scraps, filled with scraps. One of those, a couple of these, or, you know, maybe a couple of those, maybe you'd need. One or two of these little books, and then you could just literally, with it all contained, build your clusters whilst you're on holiday, and you're going to end up with then a gorgeous bunch of things when you come home. And then, you know, what you could do is take like a little packet or a little pouch of like what I would call like the you know, the focal point toppers. So oh, I haven't got one here, but you know, I tend to keep like a little pouch of mixed toppers. I don't have it here, but you know, you could take like a little pouch of mixed toppers, like some flowers, maybe some ladies, you know, things like that, anything that you want to put on. And then, you know, you could make your clusters kind of very, very, very quickly and easily. So we just build them up here. And obviously, you know, you could put these quite close together. You can put them, you know, far apart, depending on how you want to have these. But just literally glue them down like that. And then what I'm thinking is, you know, once this is done, this would just be stored on your bookshelf, you know, much as you store kind of, you know, your books, your regular books. So it's not really going to take up a lot of space. You've obviously used a whole bunch of stuff, you know, in the process, which, you know, we're always looking to use up stuff, aren't we? So, you know, it's kind of quite a good little cheaty scrap bustery thing, I think. So lots of different kind of, you know, fun kind of elements, I think, with these. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, I haven't actually ever done one before. This is a first, but I'm kind of really liking it. Now, obviously, the reason why we picked the paper that we wanted to use, you know, the side of the paper, is because we won't be using both sides. You know, these will be single side, you know, pages, because obviously we're just going to be making single, you know, single clusters. We're not making double-sided clusters or anything. I mean, I don't even know if there is such a thing. It wouldn't really work, but you know, so all you want to do is obviously put your pieces down on the one side. So like that. And, you know, even if you just got as far as kind of this when you were on holiday, of putting some bases down for your clusters, you'd then, when you got home, you'd have your pieces then ready, you know, to build up other pieces once you got home. You know, or whilst you're in front of the TV, for instance. But I just thought this was a brilliant way to not only keep your clusters kind of tidy and together, I thought it's a great way to use up some of those, you know, 12 by 12 papers that, you know, oh, if you're anything like me, maybe they're kind of hoarded and in your stash and not getting used, you know. So it's just kind of a good all-round scrap buster, I think. So again, just kind of put this on. You know, just building up. And what's quite nice is obviously you're going to kind of come up with loads of different looks, because you're, you know, incorporating that sort of background page from the 12 by 12 papers. Now, my 12 by 12 papers, it's got to be said, they're quite thick. I'm not sure whether actually, you know, maybe it would have been better to use thinner paper. I don't know what the GSM is of this, but it does feel pretty thick. I'm thinking kind of like, you know, maybe you'd be better off with thinner papers, but I think this is fine. And actually for the durability of, you know, for instance, putting it, you know, up on your bookshelf, then I guess actually this is quite a good way, you know, a good way to do it by using quite thick pieces. But yeah, I just was really, really excited when, you know, when you kind of wake up and you can't stop thinking about something. I was like literally wanting to do it before even taking my daughter to school. I thought this would be such a fun thing to do. So yes, it was a miracle that I actually managed to discipline myself and take her to school first. Not just be, you know, causing her to be late on the school run, you know. Oh, I'm really sorry that my daughter's late, but, you know, I was just so distracted with wanting to try something out. Yeah, I mean, that would not have gone down that brilliantly, but, you know. So, there we go. Oh, I've just got this one here. So, you know, could he here just maybe put, I did bring some book page. Yep, just get some book page. This is you know, some pretty vintage book page. Oh, got lots of images on, so that's causing me to struggle to use it. Oh, okay. So, yeah, just pop that down. Okay. Maybe. Okie dokie. Like that. Now, obviously it's up to you. You know, you could now at this point, you could actually finish this page of clusters by putting your toppers on, you know, or you could just go through the book doing your base you know, your base for your clusters, and then kind of fill in your, you know, your clusters afterwards. So I'm going to do that for a couple of pages, I think. Now, what I was talking about with the whole, you know, pick a side that you're going to be happy using is because I thought I probably wouldn't want to use this side, because this is the side that's kind of rounded, if you see what I mean. You know, the spine, it's not going to be laying flat. It's got the rounded kind of part. So I'm thinking keep to, you know, this flat side. When you lay your book out, this is the side that lays flat. So each side, I'm going to be using the flat, you know, the flat side. And then when I come to the second half, I will obviously be doing the reverse. So I'm using the flat side again, but obviously it's the reverse page, if you see what I mean. So yeah, just going to kind of, you know, go through, and then, you know, you're going to have this gorgeous book to look through. And I thought, you know, if you've seen before when we've made these gorgeous collage masterboard scrapbooks, and I know that I did my first one during the lockdown, but I've made these a few times now, and I just absolutely love them. I mean, I have to say the biggest problem for me is them wanting to use them, because I love them so much. I then find myself wanting to just hoard them because they're so lovely. But they're lovely to look through, they're lovely to use up your scraps. And of course, what's lovelier still is all of your collage masterboards. They're contained in this book. So I'm kind of thinking then you'd have your collage masterboard scrapbook all contained neatly in a book. And then you're going to have a book of clusters contained neatly in this book. So let's just kind of crack on and, you know, see what we can kind of come up with here. So just going to take some more. Now I might want to put these on a different colour background. So maybe on the black and white. Oh, this is where I'm now thinking, oh, why did I not use the you know, black and white polka dot, because actually maybe I would have preferred that. Oh, I don't know. So yeah, just going to kind of like take my pieces, just pop some down here. Okay. But I mean, already I'm loving this. Already I'm thinking, oh, this, you know, is really like quite a fun, you know, relaxing project to do. It feels quite mindful. And, you know, obviously you are then using up some of your things. So you're being quite productive. You know, you're going to get rid of quite a lot of scraps pretty quickly. You're going to end up with something gorgeous to, you know, to touch and to hold afterwards. And of course, it's all going to be kind of neat to store. It's not going to be taking up like a whole ton of room in your craft area. So, you know, I think it's quite a win-win project, really. So yeah, let's just tear that down. I might have overdone that, trying to get as much as I could out of that one piece. Maybe I should have not been so stingy. Like I said, these are my French collection papers, and actually I've got to be truthful, I'm not even sure whether these made the cut or not. These could be the ones that kind of misprinted on the printer. I actually can't remember. But yeah, that's what some of these are, is, you know, when the printer's kind of been running out of ink and things. So I do apologise. Obviously the, you know, the French collection papers, they're on my Etsy shop. So if you want to check, you know, do go across and just have a look and see, you know, which pieces are actually, you know, part of the final collection and which aren't. Hopefully, you know, there's a few on there that you'll be able to kind of see. So yeah, just taking down a few different bits and pieces in a few different shades. And actually I've also got some of my other background pages that I've done lately. So I've actually got some of my farmyard ones here, which, you know, they're quite busy, so I'm not going to necessarily use that side, but on this side I've got some of my vintage ephemera pieces. So these are kind of plainer and more, you know, more neutral for clusters perhaps. So just again tear some of these bits. So, you know, you can see I'm really getting through things very, very quickly. Oh, perhaps that one I'll just leave like that actually. Really getting through these very quickly. So yeah, let me know below what you think to this. Are you going to give it a go? Did you give, you know, the scrapbook collage masterboards, did you give them a go? if you did, you know, did you love doing those? And you kind of, you know, can see how these would be a very similar concept, you know. Yeah, I'm really, really excited by these. And yeah, I was really excited by those collage masterboards. And I know that I did even see Gail Agostinelli make one. So I was really excited that, you know, she had even kind of, you know, embraced them and thought they were a nice idea. And I know that I saw as well Anna Milford. She made one, and she made a lovely video. She hasn't made a ton of videos as far as I'm aware, but she makes lovely videos when she does make them. So Anna, if you watch this at all, I just want to say hi. Really do like your videos. You should definitely make more, because you are very natural, you know, with your filming style, and, you know, very natural on camera. But yeah, she made the collage masterboard. She said she loved it. And in fact, that video is saved in my favourites, because she made a few different projects from different, you know, different people. And it was such a nice video, and it's really quite an inspirational video. I will try and remember, and I'll try and link it. I probably fail miserably and forget, I've got to be honest. But yeah, do nudge me, and I will try and then find it and link it, because it's a really good video, you know, with lots of kind of, she's just sharing, I think, like some of her favourite things that she'd worked on. And it just happened that she did, you know, one of those collage masterboards. But that's not why I loved the video, you know, despite that I'm going on about it now. That's not the reason why I loved it. But having said that, it's always exciting if you see somebody, you know, do a project that you've done. You know, that's really nice to see when other people do enjoy, you know, working with that project. Yeah, so there we go. Right. So I've got a lot of different bits here. These are obviously my William Morris papers. You know, again, just thought colour-wise, perhaps these would mix in nicely with some of these little bits and pieces. You know, just, yeah, just pulling in any old things, really. So, you know, obviously I do have a lot of scraps, because I'm printing all the time. You know, when I'm kind of creating kits and things, you know, you really do need to print a lot. So, you know, in my sort of case, I'm probably, yeah, really loaded with scraps, you know, more than maybe the average person. So, yeah, and obviously they're not necessarily going to be complementary, because they're all different kits, but actually, as it happens, most of these look like they're going to kind of overlap and go quite nicely. So, fingers crossed. But I thought I would just, you know, tear some down, and I probably, you know, should have done this first. But I just wanted to share the whole process with you. Plus, to be honest, like I said, I was so excited, because this idea only came to me in the night. And, yeah, I was so excited to come and do it that obviously I've not had time to then, you know, prep or anything. It was like, oh, no, I can't wait to actually get on and actually make one. So, yeah, I was very excited to come and share. Right, so we've got quite a few little scraps there. So, probably more than enough to, you know, be getting on with. Just quickly finish this sheet of paper off like that. Okay, there we go. Right, okay, so yeah, let's use some of these now. Again, like I said, I'm just literally putting these down, you know, in the background, and then we're going to kind of like finish them off, you know, probably not in this video if I'm truthful, because obviously, you know, I've now been waffling on for so long, there's, I'm sure, not time to actually kind of complete any, but we're going to make a good start on the book anyway. So like that. And if you're wondering, you know, I think, you know, you should be able to just go over this then. If you, you know, like on this, it's on this white background, you know, white with black. I use this Anita's tacky glue, and that's the glue that I tend to always use. It's my go-to glue. But I think, you know, in the past, I have definitely got away with then painting over with coffee dye. So, you know, I could take my coffee dye now, which I just have kind of behind my desk. I just keep a cup of coffee dye, and I could take that and just paint over, and it should then just paint over these papers, you know, but in particular, obviously the background, which is black and white, and then it would be black and coffee dye. So, you know, that's another thing, is sometimes I like to do things like, you know, what I call like a time-saving way. So instead of actually coffee dyeing my pieces all first and individually and all of that kind of stuff, you know, I actually have found, you know, I've had sort of reasonable success with kind of then, you know, coffee dyeing my things after sticking them, you know, yeah. So again, you know, that's a trial and error thing, and you may want to try that out. It will probably depend what glue you use and all of that stuff. Like I said, I always use that Anita's tacky glue, and definitely for me, I found that, you know, that has worked. So I have definitely got away with, you know, coffee dyeing it sort of retrospectively after gluing. But yeah, it may depend on the glue. I mean, I'm thinking probably a glue stick, you know, that would definitely not be very successful. But hey, I mean, I don't know. I don't really use a glue stick. So, you know, I have limited experience of how glue stick, you know, works. But yeah, I mean, in my head, I can't imagine a glue stick kind of being very tolerant of that. But who knows? Maybe it would be okay. And hey, maybe, you know, maybe you don't need to coffee dye it anyway. I mean, you could always just, you know, ink these up with some distress ink and things. So, you know, there's all different ways that you can be doing these. So, but I'm actually just really excited. And I know I felt like this with those collage masterboard scrapbooks. I'm really excited to get this book done. You know, if nothing else, to have a gorgeous book of clusters to look through. Like I said, my biggest worry is that then I would just sit and hoard them and not want to actually use them, because I can already see that happening. You know, already my excitement is at looking through the finished book. I mean, that's not kind of suggesting that I'm excited to use them, is it? That's suggesting I'm excited to have them to look through. So that's kind of concerning, really. But hey, it doesn't matter, you know, because at the end of the day, it's all about kind of the process. And actually, if you're getting kind of a lot of pleasure from making your book, it's, you know, it's a form of journaling in itself, isn't it? You know, you're getting kind of the therapeutic kind of aspect, you know, whilst you're making your book. So even if it came to the point where it was like, well, you're never going to actually use the book, does it matter? Probably doesn't really matter, does it? Because you've still had the pleasure of making the book. And then, of course, you've still got the pleasure of looking through it, you know, like much as you do with an art journal. So I think, you know, I think it's okay, to be honest, even if you didn't end up using it and wanted to hoard it. So we've done that one. Let's go here and do this purple one. So this, as you can see, is where I've obviously done that rubbish stitching. So I just need to kind of bend it like that, but it's fine. It, you know, it's not really a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, let's use the purple. Just, you know, trying to get some different looks going on so that it's not all the same, you know, the colours that we're doing. So I'll just put that on top of there, because that just looks like it's, you know, going quite nicely on there, doesn't it? Okay. This one. Got this gorgeous pink. That's lovely, isn't it? So perhaps we'll put that one down like that. And I mean, the other thing that's quite nice about this is it's quite good for sort of pushing you outside of your comfort zone, because, you know, if like me, you're a little bit, you know, matchy and it's like, oh, I can't use that, it doesn't go. And, you know, this is going to kind of force you to put things together that you wouldn't necessarily have put together, you know, in the first place. So, you know, I wouldn't have necessarily put that brown with this lilac. But actually, doesn't it look really pretty? You know, it looks gorgeous with the lilac, doesn't it? So, you know, it's going to be another kind of, yeah, another sort of pushing of your boundaries, perhaps. You know, because you're going to be perhaps using things in a way that you wouldn't have thought to use them previously. So it's all quite exciting from that point of view, I think. So okey-dokey, let's just have a look. Oh, I'm not sure about that one on there. What was I saying about pushing yourself? Oh, I mean, that's gorgeous on here, isn't it? So, yep. I mean, I couldn't quite bring myself to put that down on the purple, obviously. It was just like a stretch too far, but yeah, it definitely looks quite good on this polka dot, doesn't it? So, yeah, we've got those couple there. Should we try one of these blue? Oh my goodness, how pretty does that look? Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we're going to end up with some really different looking clusters that, you know, we might not have got otherwise, because we wouldn't have ever mixed these types of colours together. So I'm thinking I need to now tear some more bits of paper. So let's just take this one. Okay. And the other thing that's quite nice is you're going to probably end up with a big variety of sizes, because you're going to be using, you know, all of your little scraps, you know, so you may get some big, some small, and you're going to then, you know, come to the point where you've got perhaps smaller spaces on the page where you then think, oh, well, I could just quickly squeeze in another, you know, another small cluster on there. Which again is quite nice, isn't it? Because sometimes, you know, we play it safe with the size of the pieces that we make. So, you know, this may kind of get some different results from a size kind of point of view as well, which, you know, that's all quite good, isn't it? Okay. So, yeah, let's just pop some of these down. Loving this red on that red. Okay. So obviously I've already kind of like, you know, chopped and changed my pages that I'm working on. I think I'm going to have that on the red. Okay. I mean, can you see what I was meaning by the, you know, using the flat page rather than the, I think I like that one on the red as well, rather than the, you know, this page, because this page wants to keep on flapping open, whereas this obviously is holding flat. So, you know, it's just a sort of an ease of use practice, really, is to kind of use the side that's, you know, naturally lays flat. So, but I mean, again, you know, it's obviously it's your scrapbook, so, you know, you can do it however you like. But yeah, for me, I just think actually that's quite a good kind of, you know, good practice to be using the lie and flat pieces. I have to say, loving that on those roses. So, you know, already pushing myself outside of my boundaries, doing things that, you know, I wouldn't normally necessarily put together, but mixing things up, you know, because they look quite good. So, yeah. Right. Okie dokie. Okay. Yeah, I actually can't wait for this to be, you know, to be filled up, because I'm just thinking I'm going to get such a lot of fun, you know, from just flicking through this. And, you know, like I said, even if I just end up hoarding it and never actually use it, I feel like, you know, I'm going to get such a lot of pleasure from looking through that I don't think that really even matters, you know. It's going to be just like a gorgeous book to actually just look through, if nothing else. So, yeah, really, 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 really love it. You know, already loving it. Okay, so just make that smaller and just pop that on there. Actually, just wondering whether I wanted it on that one instead. Okay, like that. Okay, so just a tiny little area there, so we can just do like a tiny one. And then, you know, I mean, I've not even delved into them when you come to use this, but when you come to use it, obviously that's going to be hours more fun, because you're then going to be able to, oh, right, let's just take these. So again, going to use some of these ephemera pieces. So I think this is ephemera set, I think it's set 5, but I could be completely wrong, so I do apologise. Yeah, you're going to have a whole bunch more fun when you actually come to use these, you know, because you're going to have endless things that you can obviously do with these clusters, you know. And then, you know, you could use them like a whole page, again, for sort of, you know, on a day when you were kind of like maybe lacking your mojo, you know, you'd just be able to flick through and think, well, I'm going to tear out a whole page of clusters and I'm just going to make some stuff with those. Or, you know, you could flick through and obviously, you know, find a cluster to match the particular project that you're working on. You know, I can just picture a lot of different, you know, different sort of uses and different kind of like opportunities to use them. So, yeah, definitely quite excited by this. And the other thing that you could obviously do is, like I said, get your collage masterboard scrapbook, and then you could just cut some, you know, pieces from there to make pockets and mix them obviously with your pieces that we've got here. So, okay. Oh my goodness. Love this. This is that William Morris from my William Morris collection. And this is probably my favourite sheet. I absolutely love these colours. They are so yummy, aren't they? Absolutely love them. Yeah, so, you know, you've got kind of like 2, not ready-made items, but 2 things for, you know, huge amounts of inspiration, I think, is just kind of like when you're a bit lacking in mojo or a bit, you know, what should I do today? Get your collage masterboard, have a flick through, you know, that's going to be quite inspirational and sort of lovely to look through anyway. It feels lovely and tactile. Again, it's all held and contained in one, you know, one space. And then, so I'm just going to, yeah, layer a couple of these bits up, I think. Oh, that's gorgeous on there, isn't it? And then you could obviously take these and then, you know, cut some pockets down from your collage masterboard and then take some pieces from here as well and just kind of use your clusters on your collage masterboard pockets. So instantly you'd have like instant, well, instant finished pockets, I suppose, like instant decorated pieces, instant, you know, completed pockets, which, you know, it doesn't get quicker and easier than that, does it? Which is fantastic. And like I said, especially for those times when perhaps you're just a little bit like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Then to just, you know, be able to pull in pieces that are sort of not ready-made exactly, but, you know, they're kind of on their way, aren't they? Then, you know, that's going to be really, really fun. So obviously these, most of them need a second layer. So the only sheet that we've not done any on is this one. So let's just quickly fill in some of these as well. And then probably what I'll do, I will stop the video and, you know, complete my entire book, because I'm sure this is probably not very interesting watching me just glue these pieces down. And then we'll come back probably in another video, because obviously this video is probably, you know, going to be a bit long by that point. So I'll come back in another video and we will then see, hopefully, the completed bases. We'll then kind of transform them, make some clusters, and then probably chances are it will be then, you know, a third video where we will then, well, I was going to say tear some out and actually use them. And I might be wanting to hoard it by then, so I can't make a promise that we're going to do that, because, yeah, I might then be like on, oh, I can't possibly use them, I now just have to hoard these. So I don't know whether we will actually get around to using them. My plan is we would, but hey, who knows? I might just be, you know, unable to bring myself to actually use them, if the truth be known. Because, you know, that does definitely happen, doesn't it? You know, we make these things and then it's like, oh, that looks so pretty now. I can't bring myself to use it. So, yeah. Okay. But I'm definitely excited by this. And like I said, I mean, I'm not even bothered, to be honest. You know, if I didn't end up using this and it just stayed on my shelf, I don't even mind that, because, you know, I think you're going to get such a lot of pleasure from making this and putting it together that actually, you know, does it even matter if you don't end up using it? I don't really necessarily think it does, you know, because I think you're going to have got, you know, your creativity kind of flowing just through the process of making this, and you're going to then have a gorgeous, you know, finished article to, you know, pick up and hold and look through and, you know, get all that tactile sort of joy from, aren't you? Which, you know, is awesome. So, because I mean, crafting is a little bit like that, isn't it? You know, some of it is about just the pleasure that you get from, obviously, you know, experiencing the supplies, you know, kind of like yeah, experiencing the supplies and what would I call it? Well, just getting a chance to sort of, you know, put some colours together, or, you know, make the item, you know, even if then afterwards you're kind of like, oh, well, I don't really want to use that now because I really like it. You've had the enjoyment, you've had the pleasure of, you know, of making it, of kind of putting the piece together. And that's kind of what it's all about, I think, sometimes. So, you know, sometimes I think that's kind of good enough, really. Okay, right. Let me check what the time is. Oh, I can't see. Oh, I think it says 35. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. Oh, just one little space here, which I've missed. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat now. Too much talking. So, yeah, let's take one of these. This gorgeous green. Oh, should we do that? I've got a lot of green going on this side, but it looks really good with that pink, doesn't it? And again, you know, like I said, would never have put that green with that pink. But, oh my goodness, how gorgeous does it look? Oh, I'm thinking I might have to just use that like that because, yeah, it doesn't really fit. Oh, well, I can put it there, I suppose. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to do this in slow time, like I said, and, you know, kind of finish my book off with my bases, my base pieces, and then I'm going to come back and we'll see kind of what we've achieved, you know, what we've put together, and then we'll look at kind of finishing some off, you know, to, you know, make finished clusters. And then we'll come back probably in another video and hopefully use them if I can bring myself to. Or I may have to make a second one so as I have one to look at and one to use. I mean, crazy or what? But yeah, anyway, I hope that you like the concept. I hope it's given you some brilliant ideas and just some ways to, you know, to use up some 12 by 12 papers, really. So some ideas for your 12 by 12 paper sheets. You know, because I know that obviously a lot of us have the 12 by 12 paper pads, and then, you know, we sit on them and don't end up really using them. I know that I definitely do. So hopefully this is quite a good and nice way to actually use some of your 12 by 12 papers. The ones that, you know, wouldn't necessarily get much of a look in otherwise. So, yeah, and hopefully you think it's a nice kind of scrap buster. So I'm very excited to come back with the finished book. So, yeah, hope that you'll join me next time. And I really hope that you like it. And, yeah, let's do a hashtag, maybe like a, I don't know whether we could do like a cluster book or a cluster, I don't know, buster cluster or cluster buster book, something like that. I'll see. Again, I must try and get into using these hashtags. So yeah, I'll see if we can do a hashtag. And you know, that would be then really, really fun, because then we can all share what we've done and, you know, post on Instagram and all of those kinds of things. So, yeah, hope that you like it. Hope you feel inspired. Do share in the Facebook group, and obviously below, if you make one of these, what do you think? Do you think this is a nice idea? Do you love touching it now? Do you love having it on your shelf? Yeah, let me know. So I will see you in the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.